Hello and welcome to Mallala Motorsport Park just north of Adelaide for round 2 of the 2016 Swann Insurance Australasian Superbike Championship. As you can see, the sun is shining, the weather is brilliant, we're in for a great day. I'm joined in commentary for this weekend by Cam Williams. Cam, great to have you here this weekend, and the Superbike action round here is going to be absolutely spectacular.
Spectacular. We showed up here yesterday, Phil, and the conditions were Baltic to say the least, and this track is going to be an absolute peach to ride today.
Well, points after round 1. Matt Walters dominated the first round with 2 victories. He leads Michael Blair, Ben Burke and Robbie Bugden, but the SABC Performance guys are going to be hard to beat this weekend. Paul Byrne, of course, in 5th on board the Honda, so we've got a great mix of machinery at the front. Matt Walters won that first round. Let's hear from him on his thoughts running into Adelaide.
It's going to take us a lot of hard work today. I think the guys from BC Performance are working really good. Like, they're really fast here. They had 2 days test and we've come here pretty much with none and trying to set the bike up as we're going, which makes it a little bit more difficult. Stiffened the bike up a lot in the front end. It was kind of on the bottom of the forks yesterday, which was making it a lot harder to turn under brakes, and I think it'll be a lot better in the long run, trying to pass guys under the inside and just see how we end up. You've got to know where your braking markers are and you've got to make sure you have it right every lap, which otherwise you lose position. It's very easy. There's a lot of places to pass here, so yeah, you've got to make sure you're on the ball.
We had a pretty good first round. I struggled with the heat at Eastern Creek, and when it cooled down a little bit for the later races, I came away with my first win of the year. So looking to do a bit more of the same this year. Pretty good this track. We can deal with the temperature difference pretty well. So just got a pretty high competition this weekend. So as long as we can match it with Robbie and Matt Walters, we'll be going pretty well.
Moving to a new team at the start of this year and on a new bike, it was always going to take a little bit of time to bed in with the changes, and I think we're really starting to find a bit of momentum now. So, we got through that first round fairly well unscathed, 4th in the points, but it is real tight. So we're not a long way off the lead. So it'd be nice to try and drag some points back on Matt. Because the last thing we need to do is let him get away and then have to be forced with a challenge trying to run him down towards the end of the season. I'm hoping I can draw on a little bit of experience that I've had, and it's probably going to a degree, it's going to come down to tactics, really. Nobody seems to have the outright speed to get away from anybody, so hopefully we see some good racing today and we can get out in front.
We're not too far away. We had a new bike at the first round of the championship. That was the first time I rode the new SP. And it just took me a little while to get a bit familiar with it, so we're thereabouts now. And this track, like Mallala, kind of suits the Honda for its chassis, the setup. It turns really well, and shouldn't be too far away from the front guys. The tracks back home, they're a little bit slower and a lot tighter. I like this track particularly with especially the sweeper into the hard braking areas. With the front end on the Honda, when you have it sorted out, it's pretty good on the brakes. It turns really well, and it's just a fun track to ride.
Qualifying at this Mallala circuit is pivotal to get that first turn correct. 3rd place, we see young Michael Blair battling that injury. 2nd place will be Ben Burke on the first of the SA Motorcycles BC Performance machines, and his teammate Robbie Bugden. He sits on pole for this first one. The big news out of qualifying though, Matt Walters, the championship leader, he sits back in 7th, so a tough start for Matt Walters. Testing's done, everything's ready. These guys have spent months getting ready for this round. Just about ready to go now. Down on the grid, Phil Harlams with William Strugnell.
First of all, it's great to see you back. I remember the days when you were back riding 125 and 250 Grand Prix equipment. Great to see you out now on the big 4-stroke.
Yeah, it's definitely a different bike to ride. Very, very powerful. So it's taken a while to get used to the bike, but I'm definitely enjoying the power of the statewide Kawasaki, and it's good to move through the field from where I qualified yesterday.
Well, a man that's riding injured this weekend. Broken clavicle, I think it is for you, Michael Blair. Scapula, but still shoulder injury around this circuit with plenty of late braking is certainly not going to be easy.
Yeah, it hasn't been easy at all, especially with such hard braking. Just trying to get as many points as we can to heading to Queensland with still a strong position to fight for the championship win. So, yeah, it's a long road ahead and you just got to stay on and get many points as we can.
Best of luck for the 3 races.
Thank you.
As these riders head off on their formation lap, we're going to get on board with Robbie Bugden and take a look at this Mallala circuit. 2.6 kilometres in length, 10 turns, and as you can see, 3 left turns and 7 right turns put a considerable amount of pressure on the right edge of that tyre, and we'll see these tyres degrade significantly across the course of the day. So we get down this Swann Insurance straight, big pivotal braking area in the start. Through that, and then we'll go left hard through shock treatment, and again you'll see Bugden here. We've seen him all weekend, very, very good on the mid corner, and the drive out of this down Ipone, this is key, one of the key areas here for overtaking. We'll see Robbie Bugden run very wide to the left here and then sweep right hard through Shark. Now this corner exit here is vital for this long, fast run down this very, very long, wide open right-hander, and this is a wide open turn. You can see it there on the very left of the screen. They're going to hit some 260, 270 odd kilometres an hour here, and then almost to a dead stop, back to first gear, and you hear them come hard on the brakes here into the Dunlop stoppie. Very, very low in the rev range. Short shift out of here, left through Dunlop, and again another fast straight down this hip pocket workwear and safety back straight. Bugden again, very hard on the gas, and as I said, deep under braking here. Sydney Motorsport Ride Park Days hard right. Then they go left through the S's. Again, a key pivotal point if you want to finish a lap off right. Then we go right hard, get great drive out of 7 Friday's turn, and that is a lap of the Mallala circuit. Very tight and technical circuit, this Mallala Motorsports Park. So our riders now make their way back to the grid. Got the heat cycled through the tyres and the brakes, and it's going to be very, very key. It's a pretty cold day today, only about 16 degrees on-track temperature right now. So there's a pick-up vision there of Bo Beaton, I believe that one is. Phil Harlan, welcome back up to the box. How was everything down on the line?
That wind's starting to get up a little bit. Might affect the riders if they go down the back straight, but as we saw, Robbie Bugden, Ben Burke, the two SA Motorcycles BC Performance guys starting from that front row of the grid. Good at the field. Dominic DeLeon, Jack Baker a little bit further back in the field. Good to see Jack Baker making his Superbike at a national level debut here this weekend.
Here we go, we're just about to get it racing. We're on board now with Michael Blair on that YRT machine. Look at the jump. Good clean jump from everybody across. Will Robbie Bugden convert this one? It looks like Ben Burke's got the better of that start, Phil.
It is, and it's a great start also too from Matt Walters from that second row of the grid. We saw him have some difficulties in qualifying, but he's up into third place, out onto the Ipone straight. He's right in behind the two SA Motorcycles BC Performance guys here at their home round. But also, look at the start from Michael Blair. Great start on the Yamaha from the front row of the grid.
Yeah, great start from Michael Blair, and now he needs to just tuck onto his train. Obviously nursing that shoulder injury. Probably not going to be so much under acceleration he's going to suffer, but definitely going to suffer under braking. And there's a lot of spots on this track where there's a significant amount of heavy braking. Now we see Robbie Bugden just poke his nose to the inside there on Ben Burke, just having a little bit of a look. Obviously these two guys with that test in the field, they're probably going to be maybe a tenth or two quicker around this Mallala circuit.
Yeah, well, that was the case yesterday, but it's hard to say what's going to happen today because the conditions have changed, Cam. Track temperature is a whole lot different, the air temperature is different, and it's really going to be a test in this first race to see who's been able to set up their bikes as Robbie Bugden takes the lead now on board the 24 machine. The 5 times New Zealand Superbike champion is into the lead with his teammate right on his tail, Matt Walters, and the young Central Coast rider Michael Blair going with them as well. And as you said though, Michael Blair is probably going to suffer as this race goes on with that shoulder injury. There's so much late braking and quick direction changes here at Mallala as we go left and out onto the Ipone straight for the second time.
On board with Michael Blair there, and right behind him, great start for Matt Walters, obviously looking to atone for that issue he had in qualifying. At this point in time, he's now going to start to apply a significant amount of pressure to young Michael Blair and see what he can make happen there. He really does need to get a shuffle on now, get past Blair, because it looks to me like Robbie Bugden has pinned his ears back and he's trying to open up maybe half a second or something along those lines there on his teammate Ben Burke to try and run away with this one, Phil.
Yeah, heavy braking now at the end of the Kawasaki kink and down into the corner that the locals know as the Northern Hairpin as Matt Walters slides up the inside. But as we saw yesterday, Cam, runs that fraction wide and allows the rider to come back. They're going side by side. You can just see Matt Walters' front wheel in the far left-hand corner of your screen there, and he gets the better on the brakes. See the way he slides the bike into the corner and gets the bike actually starting to turn before he actually gets to the apex of the corner to set him up for a fast exit.
Amazing technical ability there from Matt Walters. Now he's going to try and pin his ears back and get on the back of this SA Motorcycles BC Performance duo. These guys really are duking it out. Definitely looks to me like Robbie Bugden significantly more comfortable on this machine than what we've seen in the first round.
Yeah, there's Bo Beaton on board now on the racer's edge, Panigale. and great to see Bo Beaton back. I was just thinking about the amount of riders that have got international experience in this field. Bo Beaton done a couple of years overseas in the Superstock 1000 World Championship. Paul Byrne, of course, from Ireland, has raced at many tracks throughout the world. And then, of course, we go to the front of the field as we watch Paul Byrne head up towards that kink. Now, there's a rider to keep your eye on too. Bike number 99, the local rider, William Strugnell. He used to ride 125 and 250 Grand Prix machinery back in the day, and it's good to see him having a ride on a big bike here at his home circuit of Mallala.
Pick up a replay of the jump here, and it looks to me like everyone got a really, really good start. See on the far right-hand side, I think it might be Bo Beaton potentially, who's got a very, very good jump. There we go on board with Paul Byrne. Obviously an issue with that machine, so having a little bit of issue with his quick shifter, I believe, and he then gets by Liam Wilkinson. Oh, Liam Wilkinson not messing around there on William Strugnell. Gets the job done there as they go to IPO. Now the pass for the lead. Robbie Bugden it was. Very, very polite on his teammate. Then you'll see Michael Blair. Wow, Phil, he had to grab a handful of front brake there, so Ben Burke didn't rip the front off that YRT Yamaha. Also pick up the move there by Matty Walters. Good job on Michael Blair, and just shuffled him wide enough there through Dunlop to give him the inside line for the next corner.
Yeah, it's a very long run through that long left-handed Dunlop sweeper and down the hip pocket workwear back straight. As we go back to the action now with William Strugnell, Matt Harding, Bo Beaton also involved in that battle, along with young Brad Swallow. Hasn't he been a revelation this year? His first full year in the Superbike class and putting in a great ride on board bike number 56. If he's battling with a rider like Bo Beaton with so much experience, that just goes to show you how far he's come in only a very short amount of time.
Yeah, and Bo Beaton getting a significant amount of track time as well, obviously with that Vincent machine, so it does show exactly how good Brad Swallow is going here. We're now looking back off the back of Paul Byrne and looking at Liam Wilkinson there, the young South Australian. Very, very solid effort, wasn't it, Phil, to get on the front row of the grid for this one?
Yeah, it shows consistency over the qualifying rounds yesterday, and good performance. He's also got new front setup in that Yamaha as well, with some Mupu front suspension cartridges going in this weekend. They've arrived at a setting pretty quickly, and he's feeling very, very comfortable with the bike. And of course, Paul Byrne, the Formula Oz champion from last year, is also having his first full year in Superbikes. Did a couple of rounds last year and the year before, but it's good to see him back in the Premier class.
Just a question for you here, Phil, as we're on board with Bo Beaton. How do you make that transition, obviously, from the Vincent back over to a Superbike? You really have to get your head around, because they're two completely different pieces of equipment, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, but Bo Beaton is very experienced on both of these pieces of equipment. He's only spent a couple of years off Ducati machinery since he made his very impressive debut and went within half a second of Craig McMartin's Pro Twins lap record at Sydney Motorsport Park many, many years ago. Of course, his dad owns North Coast V Twins up there on the north coast of New South Wales, so he's, as you would expect, very, very comfortable on V Twin machinery. And both the Ducati Panigale and also the Irving Vincent, both big V twins, just a little bit different in capacity.
Good pass there, Brad Swallow, getting the job done on William Strugnell, and Bo Beaton just tucked on at the back of this one as Robbie Bugden still leads it from Ben Burke. Third is Walters, fourth is Blair and Paul Byrne, and fifth place at this point in time. Back on board with Bo Beaton. Just see the lean angle on this Panigale. He really does get that thing nice and low, doesn't he, through the S's?
He certainly is, but I think the one thing that's hampering Bo Beaton at the moment is the lack of dry setup time on board the Panigale. Of course, they haven't been here with the Panigale last year, so it's a completely new motorcycle and first time at this track for Bo Beaton as we come back down the Ipone straight. Robbie Bugden still leads, but Ben Burke has actually just set the fastest lap of the race so far, a 107.668. So it's getting down to around about a second off the existing lap record that was set on much different tyres as well. So Ben Burke is really starting to apply the thumbscrews now to his SA Motorcycles BC Performance teammate, the 5 times New Zealand Superbike champion Robbie Bugden.
The one cliche we know about motorsport is that you want to beat everybody, but the first person you've always got to beat is your teammate, isn't it, Phil?
It certainly is, and you can see these two get along really well, and of course Kelvin Rowley, the team manager, keeps everybody in check, and there's no, how would you say, animosity between the two riders, but they are both desperate to win, and you can see that in the look of Ben Burke's eyes when he had to take second fiddle and line up next to his teammate in pole position as they come out onto the Swann Insurance main straight. Look at the body language from Ben Burke. He really does say that this 2016 Kawasaki ZX-10, a physically smaller motorcycle than the previous model, suits him much better. But this man, very impressive, Michael Blair, first year on a superbike and is riding it like a seasoned professional.
Doing very well as he pick up these great shots there of Paul Byrne, the Irishman, on the LTR Honda. Had quite an incident the other day, Paul Byrne, so obviously we're looking at that one. Now we go to the inside here with Bo Beaton, looking like he just made a little bit of a mistake there and he's run wide and allowed the 56 of Brad Swallow to get up the inside.
Yep, back to the Northern Hairpin now, and it is the SA Motorcycles BC Performance duo that are still riding like a precision riding team at the moment. Bugden leading from Burke, 7 down on the 7th lap of 10, so we're about 3/4 race distance. I think time is running out for Ben Burke to try and plan an assault, because there's only a certain amount of places here at Mallala Motorsport Park where you can put a good, safe pass on. We've seen some outrageous passes in some places where you wouldn't think in years gone by, but I'm pretty sure that these two are going to try and play it nice with each other, as nice as you can when you're trying to win a national level superbike race.
Yeah, the helmets come on, and what we do know is when the helmets go on with those guys, there is no team orders in that pit. And at this point in time, Ben Burke, well, he's climbing all over the back of Robbie Bugden and just looking to make that pass as cleanly as he can. We can look back now on at the number 96 off Paul Byrne on that LTR machine. Harding is another one of these guys, an interesting story out of the pits there, Phil.
Yeah, he's also making the debut on the 2016 Kawasaki ZX-10. Had to ride the older model at the first round, but the man from the Hunter region's doing a great job there as he sits behind Paul Byrne. You can see he's looking pretty comfortable on the bike as well. Al Samuels has been working very hard down there in the pits to fine-tune that motorcycle. But look at Paul Byrne. He looks almost at one with that X-Team Honda Racing CBR 1000 SP as he really dices there for 5th and 6th position. But at the moment, it's that local man, Liam Wilkinson, on board bike number 34, that if anything, I think Cam is starting to pull away fractionally from the Irishman.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job, isn't he, Liam Wilkinson? Very, very good local young talent. We see that right foot off just to try and put a little bit more weight on the front wheel to get that machine stopped as he tips it in. Just about through the end of the 8th lap now. Now we see on board with Paul Byrne, and he's having a significant amount of pressure applied to him by Matthew Harding. This very, very short front straight here. We see he goes deep in under brake, so it's just about go time now for Ben Burke, isn't it, Phil? He's going to have to try and make a move on Robbie Bugden very, very soon.
Well, you can see Bugden got in there probably a little bit late on the brakes. The bike started to get a fraction out of shape and probably wasn't on the optimum line to get drive out of the corner down there at the end of the iPone straight Shark Leathers, and Ben Burke looks to me to have actually caught up a little bit, got great drive out through the Kawasaki kink and has closed right down now as they start the run through the big long left Dunlop sweeper. Ben Burke to me is looking like he is in a position to mount an assault on his teammate, but then Bugden pulls away just by a bike length or so on the drive out of the corner.
Good drive out of that corner, didn't he? Now we see Ben Burke just have another little squeak to the inside there on Robbie Bugden, not quite doing enough to get it done. Matt Walters, I wouldn't say he's a distance third there, Phil, but he's really not close enough to mount any sort of a challenge as we get through the end of the 9th lap.
Yeah, he's in good position, but I don't think he can challenge these two at the moment that have got probably about a half a second gap over the Matt Walters ridden machine, the Kawasaki Connection Rover Coaches Kawasaki ZX-10. It is a Kawasaki benefit at the moment with the 3 2016 ZX-10s leading this field. But you can see the traction control working overtime there to keep that front wheel somewhere near the ground. You can see Robbie Bugden's gone in shallow again, trying to keep Ben Burke out because he knows that Ben Burke is a demon on the brakes and will shove it up the inside at the first available opportunity.
Looking very, very racy right now, isn't he, Ben Burke? He's using every possible line, exploring something, maybe trying to set up a pass here now on Robbie Bugden. Looks like Bugden's going to hold him under brakes here. Obviously, probably only really 1 or 2 more opportunities in this one, Phil, for Ben Burke to get this done.
He's going to have to get a good run out of here and try a move down at the end of the hip pocket straight. Really, there's probably this one last opportunity for Ben Burke to try and get up the side. Oh, Dan Mack's done a great job in getting out of the way there as Burke goes up the inside. Oh, what a move from Ben Burke. Down into the last corners. He leads them through the Sydney Motorsport Park Ride Day S's. Can he hold it to the line?
Out of 7 Friday, it's going to be Ben Burke by the looks of it. Bugden is powerless at this point in time. His teammate Ben Burke gets the win. 3rd place now, Matt Walters. Then we go with the young New South Welshan Michael Blair, a solid performance in 4th place.
Yeah, great ride from Michael Blair with that shoulder injury. Battle still going down in the pack. Looks like Matt Harding's going to have to play second fiddle to Brad Swallow, who got it all crossed up across the line. Wow, what a race. Ben Burke led for the most important part of the race, and that is over the line. Robbie Bugden in second. Matt Walters rounds out the podium with Blair. Liam Wilkinson, great ride in 5th, and Paul Byrne in 6th.
The change that we made to the bike last night's definitely worked a little bit. We started to pick those guys up at the front, and I think it's progressive grid for the next race, so hopefully we can start from the front row and go from there. Yeah, the mud's really deep over there, you don't need to go any further, but we've made the changes. It's a nice tight line through there, so it's working pretty good, and hopefully the second race can be better.
Maybe didn't play it as well as what I probably could have, but look, Ben rode a smart race, full credit to him, but that's 1 of 3, so we've got 2 more to go, so I'll have a think about it, and we might try and get the bike a little bit better as well, so. No, I'll take that. We'll move on.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Got away from me a little bit at the start there when I was sort of getting the grip, so I wasn't feeling great on the first couple of laps, and then I came good. I caught right up to Robbie, but didn't think if I overtook him early, I didn't think I'd be able to run away from him. So I thought I'd just leave it to the last minute. I saw the back marker on that last corner. I went, oh no, I think I might have left me run too late here, but got it done. So I couldn't be any happy with BC Performance team and Kawasaki bike going really well.
Race 1 of 3 is now in the books. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with race number 2 after this short break.
Welcome back to an overcast Mallala here for round 2 of the Australasian Swann Insurance Superbike Championship. Race 2 just about to get underway, but before we get on with that, Phil Harlem's down on the grid with Matt Walters.
Matty Walters started for the first race from the second row of the grid, Matt, but that great result in the first one's got you back up here onto the front and up where we saw you yesterday challenging those BC Performance guys.
Yeah, it was a bit hard from the second row that last race, but now that we're on the front row, we're a bit of clear track ahead of us from the start line, and we'll try and get a good start and just go from there, really.
We saw some pace from you in that race this morning. Have you made more changes to the bike? It's been changing all weekend. You didn't have the advantage of a test here and lost all of Friday.
Yeah, we made a lot of changes to it last night, and it's that was really the first run on it, and some more changes have gone on since then, and I think it's going to come to grips with it pretty good now, so I reckon we'll be in good chance for a win.
Best of luck, Matt.
Thanks.
He's looking very focused as always, Matt Walters. A man who's made the step up to Superbikes this year, the Irishman Paul Byrne, and Phil Harlem's down there with him now.
Paul, you've had a few dramas this weekend. The best bike was taken out of action yesterday, and a few electrical dramas on this one, but you put in a really good ride this morning.
Yeah, we're just a bit of damage limitation now this weekend. Haven't done many miles on this bike, but it felt pretty good in the first race, and just getting more comfortable on it, and the more I get comfortable on it, the faster I start going as the weekend goes on.
Let's hope you can finish the weekend on a high, but best of luck in this second race.
Cheers, mate.
There's another man who really enjoys his racing and got a big smile on his face, Paul Byrne. Another one of these guys who stepped up to the Superbike class this year. Phil Harlem's got him right now. That'll be Bo Beaton.
Some drama yesterday with electrical gremlins, but back on the pace again this morning.
Yeah, look, not having our best weekend so far. A bit off the pace of it in general, I think. We're back on the spare bike, and the guys have done a great job to get it all together, and hopefully we can pull something together in this race.
We're about to get the visors down as the tyre warmers come off. We'll clear this grid right now. Race 2 shaping up to be an absolute belter that we saw in the first one. These progressive grids, they throw some challenging racing at us. Ben Burke, the man off pole from Robbie Bugden, Matt Walters and Michael Blair round out the first row. Then we go Liam Wilkinson, Paul Byrne, Brad Swallow, Bo Beaton, Jack Baker, William Struggle, Dominic De Leon, and at the very back of the field, Daniel McCarthy on row 4. Great jump from there as we're on board again with Bo Beaton. The visor goes down, that Suwami helmet. Bo Beaton now just about to get set. You'll see him take the head right down under that screen, waiting for those lights to go out and to get a good jump. Paul Byrne got a little bit sideways. Oh, Matt Walters picking up the front wheel. Looks like Robbie Bugden got the better of the start that time. Matt Walters now just tucks in behind those two, so we're on board with Michael Blair. Welcome back up here, Phil. Great jump for those BC Performance SA Motorcycles machines.
Yeah, and I bet Matt Walters was thankful for starting that first row of the grid as opposed to the first race where we had to start from the second row. Oh, they're all very keen as they come down in shark weathers for the first time too. Lots of them are getting a little bit crossed up. That's going to compromise their drive as they drive hard up towards Kawasaki. Oh, that's a big crash. Is that Brad Swallow on board the Brad Swallow? No, it's Matt Harding on board the K&R hydraulics machine. That's a big crash for the man from the Hunter.
He was on the ground before he even knew what happened there, wasn't he? That is a massive crash by the looks of that one. Now we go on board with Paul Byrne and get a look at that. Bo Beaton climbing all over the back of him there. We'll get through Dunlop here and then head down this hip pocket. Safety and workwear straight towards the back of that one. I think we're going to clear the track there so the rider able to get up. But at the front, Ben Burke's taking the lead now from Robbie Bugden. They're still quite bunched up in this one, Phil, aren't they?
Yeah, it is as they come through the Sydney Motorsport Park ride day. Once again, Michael Blair riding with that broken scapula. A very, very painful injury at a track like this. There is literally no rest round Mallala. Usually most circuits you get a bit of a rest on the straight. There really is no straight here at Mallala because you come out of this corner here onto a very, very short straight. As soon as you get up to top speed, you're back on the brakes. And Robbie Bugden having a big look up the inside of his teammate Ben Burke. But Ben Burke late on the brakes. That's one of those skills that he learnt while he was riding not only here in Australia but also over in England. Another rider that's got much international experience.
It's quite exciting when you go on board and you see how close and side by side these guys really genuinely are, well over 150 kilometres an hour. Now Robbie Bugden has another look to the inside there of Ben Burke and Matt Walters. He's really just trying to get on terms with these guys at the moment. The lack of testing here for Matt Walters is really showing, and it's only a tenth or two, but at this point in time, now Bugden gets spectacular drive out of Dunlop, sweeps good and wide, and you can see Ben Burke just setting up a little bit more of a protective line. So we go now, Matt Walters goes around the outside of Robbie Bugden. Robbie Bugden going to hold the line for the inside there for the next one as they get through the S's. Matt Walters had a bit of a look around the outside of Bugden, but there's just not quite enough room there. Obviously, when you're turning through those S's, Phil, you control the inside line there and you're going to cut the nose off the guy as he tries to come back through.
Yeah, there's a couple of different lines you can take through those S's, but always you've got to make sure that you get the drive out of the corner. But Matt Walters is looking a little bit more racy with these guys than what he did in the first race. I wouldn't be surprised to see that Carl Walters has once again made a couple of minor changes to the Kawasaki Connection Rover coach's machine, and that's what allowing Matt to just run a fractionally better pace as we go back on board. Robbie Bugden's machine from the start. Of course, he started from second place on the grid. You can see Ben Burke, his teammate, just get the jump, was a fraction more brave as they went into turn one for the first time.
Just to let you folks know at home as well, if they go over the ripple strip on the left-hand side of this one, as we watch Matt Walters get a handful of wheelie, the ripple strip to the left-hand side, if these guys go across that, they have to tour the pit lane and shed a significant amount of time. So you can see that this first turn, the braking of that is vital. Oh, and there's the replay of the 96 of Matthew Harding getting absolutely flat and looked like just a cold tyre high side essentially, didn't it, Phil?
Yeah, it's very early in the race, and that is a corner where you get extremely hard on the gas as we go back on board now with Robbie Bugden as he tried to go around the outside of Ben Burke but wasn't able to do it. But how's the late braking from Matt Walters? Tried to go around the outside, but Bugden, as you said, had that inside line and had the line for the next corner.
Spectacular shots there of Michael Blair on that 78 iPone R1. Back live now, Ben Burke still managing to hold Robbie Bugden at bay at the very end of iPone, out of shark levers, and then we line up along this big Kawasaki kink, high speed through this kink. These guys hold these things wide open. You see Bugden there just at the moment, not quite close enough to mount anything at this point on Ben Burke, and Matt Walters just tucked in there, I should say. And again, Robbie Bugden just trying a different line to the inside there of Benny Burke and just looking for something a little bit different. Again, just a bit tighter in there. Now we go on board with Robbie Bugden again through Dunlop around the outside of Ben Burke, and looks like he's got better drive there, but Burke sweeps across again and cuts off that line.
Yeah, it looked like he had the drive around the outside, but then it looked like it just fractionally lost traction, had a small tank slapping moment at the end of that corner. That was what allowed Ben Burke to just get ahead. He was better well set up to get on the brakes at the end of the hip pocket workwear straight. But look at Ben Burke down behind the screen now, trying to hold out Robbie Bugden, who is literally crawling all over the back of his teammate's ducktail.
He got spectacular drive out of Robbie Bugden. What we have noted all day is the mid-corner speed of Robbie Bugden has been very, very good. At this point in time, though, Ben Burke being able to match him as they get towards the end of iPone. Now Robbie Bugden using that drive. Again, a completely different line between Burke and Bugden there, just a little bit tight to the inside. Now look at the drive out of his corner here for Robbie Bugden. I think he's going to make a challenge. He's made the pass, Phil.
Yeah, he was so close you could actually see the tacho on board Ben's Burke bike just flashing lots of red as he bounced it off the rev limiter trying to get the drive out of that corner. And I was going to say before, unlike the first race this morning where Robbie Bugden led the entire race and Ben Burke picked him on the line, Ben Burke had been leading the first 4 laps of this one, but he's now, Robbie Bugden, the Queenslander, has taken up the lead and he's got his head down. You can see he's trying to pull away from his teammate.
Yeah, after round one, Matt Walters was spectacular at Sydney Motorsport Park. He's just a couple of tenths off this, and he's doing very well here, Matt Walters. Has said it's not his favourite track, and the lack of testing time has probably cost him. And right now, Phil, it's more about championship preservation than anything else.
You can see him just there was where he got the bike a little bit sideways and out of shape, and that allowed Ben Burke to get back in the lead. It wouldn't remain for long, though, as Ben Burke was completely and utterly hounded all the way by his teammate Robbie Bugden.
Bugden looked spectacular, didn't he, towards this one? And as I was noting with that mid-corner speed, he just got very, very good drive out of the Kawasaki kink. Got the job done right there, and that drive just set him up for a spectacular lap there. Now through 7 Friday's turn, he's opened up a little bit of a gap there on Ben Burke and Matt Walters. We see Blair come through there. Another solid ride there for Brad Swallow as well, as we pick up now with Paul Byrne on that LTR Honda, looking strong as we now on to the 8th of 10 laps here, on board with Paul Byrne.
Yeah, that is a fantastic ride from Brad Swallow to be ahead of Paul Byrne, a man with a lot of big bike experience. Brad Swallow really in the infancy of his big bike racing career, as Matt Walters absolutely spectacular into shark leathers at the end of the iPone straight. Runs a fraction wide, but still doing a pretty brave job to try and hang on to these rampant SA Motorcycles BC Performance Kawasaki's out front, with Bugden starting to pull away from his teammate Ben Burke.
Yeah, Ben Burke's going to need to pin his ears back here, isn't he, and find a couple of tenths here to get on terms of Robbie Bugden. Now you can see on board with Matt Walters exactly what Robbie Bugden's done at this point as they sweep left through Dunlop. You see Robbie Bugden now has pulled out a good second and a half, maybe even 2 seconds on Matt Walters, a Kawasaki Rover Coach's machine. There is the gap there, down through hip pocket into Sydney Motorsport Park ride days. The S is there, then I'll sweep right for the second last time now in 7 Friday watches. Along that straight there. Good drive out of there for Ben Burke, and he is getting after the number 24, his teammate, the one and only Robbie Bugden.
Well, on lap 7, Cam, it was 0.2 of a second for Robbie Bugden. He was faster than Ben Burke. On lap 8, that's just been completed now, he was another 1 and a bit tenths of a second ahead as we go back on board with Bo Beaton. So he's just stretched out that gap a fraction. Bo Beaton head underneath the relatively small front cowling of that Ducati Panigale 1199 as they make their way down. Whereas that looks like it's through the Sydney Motorsport Park ride day. Yes, as you can see him manhandle the bike from side to side. Actually, looks to me like he may even have a problem with that machine because it doesn't seem to be going anywhere near as fast as normal.
Yeah, it looks like they've been struggling. They've been doing a significant amount of work on that bike. I noted that in the pits this morning. That bike was out and they were having a few, maybe potentially electronic problems. Or we have seen some of the other guys with fuel delivery system issues as well. So Bo Beaton, those guys, will get to work on that in between these 2 races, and they'll make sure that Racer Red's machine is back on point for Bo Beaton.
Ben Burke drives hard out of the 7 Friday watches and onto the very short start-finish straight as we start the final lap. It is going to take a bigger comeback than John Howard for Ben Burke to try and reel in his teammate here. As they started this last lap, it was a 0.7 of a second gap, or just over 0.7 of a second gap for Robbie Bugden as they come down the Ione straight. Once again, a very defensive line. That could cost him a couple of tenths on the drive out of this corner. And Ben Burke has seen him gone in very shallow there. What can he do as they come down towards the Kawasaki kink?
This is going to have to be a Lazarus comeback here from Ben Burke. He doesn't have a lot of time left in this one. Only a few turns now. They'll get right down here into this Dunlop stopper. They'll sweep hard right and get a look at Ben Burke under those brakes. He is spectacular on braking. Ben Burke left through Dunlop now. Robbie Bugden again, a little bit of a wider line there. Keep your eye on Ben Burke. This one, Phil, it's going to get a little bit closer. I think this is a long way from being done just yet.
Yeah, I think this is really the last serious overtaking opportunity for Ben Burke. He's going to have to do something pretty miraculous from here. Bugden's got a good line. Burke comes out wide and shoves it down the inside. No, beg your pardons for Ben Burke, and takes victory number 2. Wow, hold on to your breath. Well, as they say, it's not over until you get to the checkered flag, and Ben Burke has proven that once again as Paul Byrne comes around to complete his race as well, just ahead of Liam Wilkinson. Wow, hold your breath and have a look at a replay of this action from Ben Burke and Robbie Bugden.
Looks like he set it up there, didn't he? A bit of a tighter line there through the S's. Got to that. Bugden had to stand it up because if he didn't, both of those guys were going to end up in that air fence on the outside there. So a bit of a cheeky move, you'd have to say, at the very least, by Ben Burke. But Bugden, he saw him coming, and Ben Burke, he was heavily committed. That's almost a motocross pass right there, what you could call a bit of a block pass, I guess. Get out of the way, I'm coming through.
Yeah, you had to see Robbie Bugden stand that bike up a fraction so that there was no exchanges of paintwork. Ben Burke takes the victory by 0.156 of a second. Matt Walters once again in third behind the SA Kawasaki BC Performance Duo, and Michael Blair another brave ride in fourth.
It's just about getting points today. I'm trying to win the last one, but yeah, struggling a little bit still with bike setup, but it's moving forward slow. But I think if I can grab the lead and go from there, I might try and run away with a win.
Yeah, well done to Ben. He obviously rode another smart race, but yeah, a little bit tough to swallow that one, but that's the way it goes. We're going to have a chat about it and see what we can do for the last one.
Yeah, it was probably a bit rude, but we didn't touch, so we both stayed on. I'm pretty happy. Robbie probably outrode me a little bit in that race. I made a few mistakes, but yeah, happy that I came away with the result I did.
And what a result it was for Ben Burke and the SA Motorcycles BC Performance team. 2 down, 1 to go. Back after this break.
Back here at Mallala for round 2 of the Australasian Superbikes presented by Swann Insurance. 2 exciting races in the books so far. Ben Burke has been dominant Down on the grid right now, Phil Harlem's got the man himself, Ben Burke.
Ben, 2 out of 2. You saw Robbie do 3 out of 3 yesterday. Have you got anything in store for this last race after that last lap manoeuvre on the last race?
Yeah, we never know. It's always close between us. I don't think either of us can run away from each other. So I discussed with him this morning that we just go through a piece. He didn't seem overly happy with it at the start, but I'm not. Hopefully, you're not going to give him much choice.
Best of luck for a good race, Ben.
Thanks, mate.
2 from 2 for Ben Burke so far. He's been very strong. The man who's looking to halt that dominance, his teammate Robbie Bugden. Phil Harlem's got him now.
Well, it's been so close between the two of you all weekend. Bikes are obviously very evenly matched, and as Kelvin said, there's no team orders.
No, definitely not. It's me and Ben seem really evenly matched. So it's just going to come down to a bit of a street fight here, I think. And let's just see how it unfolds.
Can't wait. Best of luck, Robbie.
Thanks, mate.
Very focused and determined at the moment. Robbie Bugden wants that win desperately. Well, a man who's a great character in the pits down here. He has a lot of fun and really enjoys his racing. All the way from Trinidad and Tobago, Phil Harlem has got Dominic de Leon.
We saw him at Sydney Motorsport Park. Couldn't get the smile off your face. Dominic, you came out and had a race last year. The smile has not gone from your face since that effort last year. You've had a great weekend here this weekend as well.
Yeah, this weekend has been really interesting. Being the first time at this track. And the guys, my team here, doing what they've been doing to make sure that I'm comfortable to ride the bike as best as I could and just concentrate on learning the track because it's very technical and lots of fast and slow bits on the track, which I'm struggling with the brakes and the hands. But we've made a few changes and I think those changes that we made this morning has helped, especially with the Stars of Tomorrow race is proven the drop in the time that I've dropped. So this last race looking just to have fun. The weather is lovely, so just make the most of it and just enjoy this last session we have. So it's been good, really enjoy it.
He is genuinely a man who enjoys his racing there, Dominic de Leon, leading the C&D Grade Cup at this point. We pick up pictures there of Ben Burke on pole from his teammate Robbie Bugden. Rounding out the first row is Michael Blair, then Swallow, Byrne, Wilkinson and Strugnall, Baker, de Leon, McCarthy, Matt Harding, the 96. He had that big one in that second race, I should say. And he rounds out the back of the grid. The red flag flies. We're on board with Robbie Bugden, just about to go racing for this third and final race of the day. Waiting for the lights to go out. And there is the jump. Robbie Bugden, can he control the inside line here? Matt Walters with great drive as well. And he looks like he might get by Robbie Bugden.
Oh, someone's gone off very wide there, Cam. And I think maybe doing a tour through the pit lane. Because as we said before, you go over that white line on the exit of turn 1. It's a tour through pit lane. And as the field storms down, it is Ben Burke that leads from Robbie Bugden and Matt Walters. Well, something completely different. The 3 Kawasaki's that have dominated this weekend are at the front of this race.
Yeah, it's a groundhog day for these SA Motorcycle BC Performance Machine. And Matt Walters, we keep saying, just a smidge back there. On board now again with Robbie Bugden. Line up through this Kawasaki sweeper into the Dunlop stoppie. Well, the northern hairpin to the locals there. And again, they'll just form line and stern there, all behind Ben Burke, then Bugden. Michael Blair just trying to keep to the inside there and maybe have a bit of a look up the inside if possible there in that next turn on Matt Walters. Not much doing there though, Michael Blair. You can see he's just a tenth or so off, isn't he, at this point? Phil, that pain by this late stage of the day is probably going to be really ramping up the meter.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I could also notice that the front end of both Robbie Bugden and Ben Burke's bikes were bouncing up and down. They were late on the brakes as well. Robbie Bugden takes a little bit of a creative wide line, trying to get the drive down the iPhone straight, and as he closes right up onto the back of his teammate Ben Burke now, just that couple of kilos lighter, and his bike, which uses different gearing to Robbie Bugden here, 2 different, complete different setups for those 2 riders, just gets that little bit extra drive out of the corner.
Yeah, he's just got a half a bike length or so, doesn't he? Every time they jump out of that corner, where we see Robbie Bugden, some of these high speed turns, he seems to be a little bit better. Now he has another look there down the inside, and he's going to get that one done by the looks of it, Robbie Bugden. Good, clean pass to Bugden. We've seen him do this in the first 2 races. Always he run a little bit wide and giving Ben Burke a little bit of breathing room to the outside. Not quite yet though, Robbie Bugden. He sweeps across and protects that. All the while, Matt Walters just sitting there in 3rd place, enjoying this show.
He ran a little bit wide and then just virtually ripped the right handlebar off as he went for the throttle and the gas around the long Dunlop sweeper as we go on board with Michael Blair. I know we've said it every race, but a brave performance for the young rider from the Central Coast who is riding this weekend with a really bad shoulder injury. And really, by all accounts, the amount of points he's scored this weekend has kept him in championship contention for sure, and a brave effort from Michael Blair.
Yeah, we hear it all the time, don't we? You win your championships on your bad days. And Michael Blair, he's come here nursing an injury, and he's going to get through this weekend with a good haul of points. Get a look at Robbie Bugden. He has eked out a decent-sized margin now over Ben Burke and Matt Walters, and we're seeing Blair still in touch with this one with Paul Byrne back there in 5th place, so it's another solid performance. Looks to me like Paul Byrne found a little bit more performance out of that machine. The replay at the start here, Phil, talk us through this one.
Well, it was a great jump from Ben Burke, and Robbie Bugden and Matt Walters essentially rode through this corner side by side. You can see Walters on the right, Bugden on the left. Walters' shoulder almost on Robbie Bugden's boot as they went through turn 2 and out onto the iPone straight. Back on board now with Bo Beaton, who went to tip into the corner, and unfortunately William Strugnall was there. He ran wide and has gone right out wide on the track, and that has cost him a lot of position and a lot of time early in the race.
Yeah, it looks like just a little bit of a lack of awareness there. Now we're going to see the inside move here from Robbie Bugden. Quite a simple pass. Look at Robbie Bugden here, trying to work out those elbow scrapers as best he can. Looks to me like that one's through 7 Friday and lining up on that Swann Insurance straight. Great shots here. Look at that SABC Performance machine of Ben Burke. Definitely still moving around a little bit, isn't it, Phil?
Yeah, it's the last race. I wouldn't be surprised, though, to see, Cam, if everyone has gone for their qualifying or unused tyre in this race, because they've got the one tyre to use for today's racing, but they can bring the wild card of their qualifying tyre. Because qualifying was done pretty much on wet tyres, everyone has got pretty much a brand new tyre sitting in their shed ready to go.
Great way to finish this meeting, putting your best foot forward there.
Well, as we come round through the long Dunlop sweeper and out onto the hip pocket workwear, back straight on board with Michael Blair. He's doing a fantastic job once again of holding off the rampant Irishman, Paul Byrne, who, as we mentioned before, is riding this weekend without a quick shifter. A couple of electrical gremlins have crept into the LTR Honda. I'm sure the team will have that fixed before the next round at Queensland Raceway. Out through 7 Friday watches and onto this very, very short straight. And I'll tell you what, Michael Blair's probably wishing that straight was about 5 times the length, and before he has to grab the bike, haul it round to the right and then to the left to head out along the iPone straight.
Yeah, he's definitely looking much better now, isn't he, Paul Byrne? Caught a funny incident down the pits the other day. The Irishman's completely and utterly scared of mice, and the boys were chasing this big, tough, grown man around with a mouse. It was quite funny to watch Paul Byrne. It was very, very enjoyable. But right now, Paul Byrne tucked it on the back there of Michael Blair at this point, looking to just climb himself a little bit further forward in the points by getting past Michael Blair.
Well, as they started this lap, Cam, it was about a 0.4 of a second lead for Robbie Bugden over his teammate Ben Burke. I'd say that's probably a pretty comfortable lead, but then thinking back to race 2, Robbie Bugden had up to about a 0.8 of a second lead, and Ben Burke came back and pantsed him on the last lap. So Robbie Bugden's really going to have to keep his wits about him, keep concentrated and just try and hold out his teammate for as long as he can as we go back on board with Bo Beaton.
Yeah, it's a tough one for Robbie Bugden. Oh, it looks like Bo Beaton's run just that smidge wide there again. It's a tough one for Robbie Bugden. At this point, obviously, he's got to run a protected line, but he needs to get away from Ben Burke. You need about maybe 1.2, 1.3 seconds, I'd say, the way that Ben Burke closed that gap.
Well, the way these two are riding, I'd probably want a 5-second gap up my sleeve if I was leading the race and trying to hold out one of these two. They are both desperate to end the week on a high. Of course, these two are also battling for that championship as well. There are no team orders in the BC Performance SA Motorcycles Kawasaki team. That was made perfectly clear at the beginning of the weekend by team manager Kelvin Riley. And at the moment, Ben Burke, if anything, has closed right up onto the back of his teammate Robbie Bugden. I'll be interested to have a look at the lap times at the end of this race, because they started off this race in a real flurry, straight down into the 107s, pretty much on the first flying lap. Matt Walters doing a brave job to try and hang on, but doesn't look to have the zip that the two leaders have got at the moment.
What do you do here now if you're Robbie Bugden, Phil? Ben Burke's got him on the last couple of corners in the last 2 laps by leading that last one. Does Robbie Bugden maybe play a bit of cat and mouse here and just slide back a little bit as you pick up the replay of these guys getting through 7 Friday? Watch his turn. They are nose to tail, these two. SA Motorcycle BC Performance. There is Matt Walters chasing him through that turn. A little bit of rubber flying there. Look at Michael Blair tipping this one in. Obviously there we can see him just rev that one in to get it into gear and then drive out of this turn. Spectacular pictures. What are you going to do if you're Robbie Bugden, Phil? Do you want to try and let Ben Burke get by, or are you going to try and lead and run those protective lines?
Well, we've still got a couple of laps to go. If I was Robbie Bugden, I'd be trying to ride as fast as I possibly could and try and, well, just break the back of my teammate at the moment. But Ben Burke just continues to stay with him. The last 3 laps, there has been less than a tenth of a second between them in lap times, and they're both the beneficiaries of an excellent 2-day test here, and it is clearly showing now as Burke goes up the inside. So I don't think Robbie Bugden let him pass, but Ben Burke has essentially forced his way past and now leads them as they come round to complete the 8th lap. 2 tours of Mallala to go, just about 5 kilometres, and we will know who is going to take the lead in this race and lead over that start-finish line for the final time this weekend.
That bike just a little bit unsettled there on Robbie Bugden, and that allowed the drive from Ben Burke to get the pass done. Now Robbie Bugden having a look at Ben Burke's line. Oh, look at that. Right on the power down iPhone, they'll sweep hard right through Shark Lever's turn. Ben Burke just got a few bike lengths now on Robbie Bugden, and that's round about all he's going to need. It's going to take a mighty dive from here by Robbie Bugden to get this one done.
You know, one thing it will do, though, it will give Robbie Bugden a bit of a chance to go to school on his teammate and see where he's fast in the dying stages of this race. As we watch a replay of Burke just coming up the inside, just let the brakes off, rolled in there a fraction faster, held a wider line through the S's. That was what Robbie Bugden didn't do in the last lap of race number 2. So Ben Burke probably playing it pretty smart there, not allowing Bugden to come back and, put a Ben Burke on him into the last corner.
They are using as much of this track as they can at the moment, these two. They're very, very racy. Teammate on teammate. Final lap now. They tip it into the end of the main straight for the very last time today. This one's going to come down to the wire now. Robbie Bugden trying again, a different line. They'll charge out through Ipone. Is this where Robbie Bugden's going to be able to make his move? He gets great drive out of Ipone. Has he got something into Shark Leathers? Not quite there yet. We've seen him get very, very good drive out of this and then make that move on the Kawasaki kick. Is that where Robbie Bugden can get this done?
Well, you can see Burke gets the drive out of there, but Bugden is very good through the fast kick and probably makes up a couple of bike lengths of distance as they go through one of the fastest corners in Australia. Straight after that, one of the slowest corners in Australia. Great work there from Daniel McCarthy to get out of the way and allow these two riders through. Bugden closes up. That back marker probably may have just put him off a fraction as they come round through the sweeper for the last time. A bit of a bobble there from Ben Burke. Is that enough for Robbie Bugden?
Robbie Bugden has a look to the inside down here pocket. The braking jewel is on. Ben Burke gets the better of this one, does he? Bugden tries the long way home. He goes to the outside. Is he going to get the line there? Burke sweeps across and protects it. Can he do a Ben Burke to Ben Burke? No, it's not going to be. They're going to go 1-2, but Ben Burke will go 3 from 3 on the day from his teammate by less than a bike length. Matt Walters gets third. Wow, I'm out of breath, Phil. That was exciting.
0.029 of a second for Ben Burke over Robbie Bugden. 1-2 pretty much all weekend for the SA Motorcycles BC Performance team. Matt Walters, another good ride in 3rd place, and Michael Blair, brave, once again in 4th.
I think we're leading the championship. If not, it doesn't really matter. It's not a real big gap. Yeah, very hard without any testing. We're happy with the 3 third places and just go from there and move on to Queensland.
Yeah, today there was some tough racing out there, and I just managed to get on the wrong end of it right at the end, but that's the way it goes sometimes, and full credit to Ben. He rode well and he rode smart, so it was it's one of those ones that kind of got away from me, but it's it is what it is, and I'm here, I'm having a great time, and it's such a pleasure to be part of a team. And obviously all my sponsors, Pope Building Services and Nitro Stainless, Kubota Helmets, Speedy Leathers, everyone who's put this together and allowed me to be a part of what is such a fun and good championship. So I walk away happy. It's you can look at what could have been, but I'm sure we moved forward in the championship and we got a whole bunch of second places, so I'll take that.
I had a fantastic day. It's a while between drinks. This is the first time I've taken out the overall victory for FX, so couldn't be any happier.
He is a very happy man. Ben Burke goes 3 from 3 on the weekend over his teammate. Phil, that has been some spectacular racing all day long.
It certainly has. Great performances all throughout the field. And, Ben Burke and Robbie Bugden will probably go home pretty happy as we have a look now at the championship points. Ben Burke leads by 3 points over our victor from round number 1, Matt Walters, on the Kawasaki Connection machine. Robbie Bugden has moved into a very clear 3rd place ahead of the brave Michael Blair, who has done his championships, hopes no harm this weekend. Well, next round is at Robbie Bugden's home circuit of Queensland Raceway. Can't wait to get up there and see what the Queenslander can do. Can he get one back on his teammate at his home round? On behalf of Cam Williams, thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you at Queensland Raceway.